This is the very first close-up of 2025. That's actually the first time I've said 2025 out loud. Happy New Year.
It's the first day of 2025 also.
Here we are. Guys, Kris Statlander is my guest today. I'm very excited to have you on here, to hang out with you, to break in the new year with you. Mm-hmm. This feels like it's a very big year for AEW. You've been here, since its inception, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
How do you think 2025 is going to go for AEW and for you personally?
Wrestling is so unpredictable, as is life, where the only thing I could really hope for is good things to happen. Obviously, there's been so much that's changed with AEW, and now we have Max. Straight up Max. We're streaming on Max.
Yes.
With that leads so many new opportunities. We have new pay-per-views, new traveling experiences. We're going to new places. Even getting to be a part of it in a small amount is such a treat itself that I'm not a huge goal setter, I guess, because like I said, everything changes all the time, and you never really know where life or wrestling will take you. My goal is always to just do the best with whatever comes my way.
Have you always been like that, or did something kind of make you realize you've got to be able to roll with the punches a little easier?
I think I've kind of always been like that, because even with wrestling, when I started wrestling, I didn't know I was going to be a wrestler. I just wanted to try something new, and I was like, we'll see where this goes. It was never my intention to make it here. But
here we are.
I guess it worked out well for me, and I'm not mad about it. It's just seeing where life takes you and not being afraid to go for it.
Okay, so as we look into 2025, we would be remiss to not go back to 2024, which I think was a pretty great year for you. I mean, despite some of the losses that you had, I do feel like you really cemented yourself, who you are, what your style is, what you're bringing to the table. I mean, specifically if we're talking about those matches with Mercedes, those matches were absolutely incredible. Our longest run female matches that we've ever had. I mean, I think you guys really showcased what you guys can do and what our women's division is capable of.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, I guess, what's the saying, perception is reality and whatnot, where a lot of people would probably say I had a great year because I had incredible milestones. I got to go to London for the first time, wrestle at Wembley. It was my first time ever leaving the North America, actually.
Yeah. Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Yes, that was my first overseas trip.
Yeah.
I had one of the most talked about matches with Willow in the street fight on a night that was so insanely crazy. Even being something that stood out on Insane Night is something to take note of. And then having these matches with Mercedes, again, it was I'm so grateful to be put in that position and then to be the one to pull through and deliver and do all that. And it's I've had such incredible moments, but I had a lot of very low times personally, and also in wrestling, where I've hurt a lot of my friends, and I feel like now I have to. The ending of 2024 kind of ended with me realizing what I've done. And now I'm starting this year very alone and dealing with the consequences and trying to figure out whether I deserve the forgiveness or not. And it's very much that's how I feel in wrestling. That's how I feel in life a lot also. And I had to kind of understand who I am alone. And now this year, 2025, I'm going to try and just be very comfortable with it.
How scary is that, kind of figuring out who you are alone? I mean, I'm sure what you're referencing, of course, is your relationship with Willow, what's happened with best friends. I mean, there's been a lot that has happened to leave you kind of standing on your own 2 feet. Yeah,
it's scary, but at the same time, it's very cliche to be you came to this world alone, and you did. And I'm I don't want to say I'm a lonely person, but not a lot of people.
This can be a lonely industry.
It's a lonely industry. I don't really have a lot of close relationships with people that I talk to on a consistent basis. And I don't really like to let people in too much to anything that I'm dealing with also. And that's not the best thing to do. It's not the healthiest. But I just I feel like there's strength in being fine by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that I do better alone sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that anything that you want to work on going forward, is to like repair some of those relationships and kind of like double back and realizing the importance of what some of those relationships maybe meant to you?
I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I feel like I've crossed a line too much where it might not be best of me to make the first move. But I also know there's no forgiveness to be given without an apology. And I will always regret turning on my friends and, you know, being led down a wrong path. And I do miss my friends.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. You know, I was there for a lot of the stuff with Willow and kind of seeing you guys falling apart.
Yeah.
The way that you did and having to go your separate ways. Well, I like very important times in both of your guys' careers to split the way that you guys did and find yourselves to come back together. I mean, it's a really stressful time to sit and reflect on that and like what those things mean. You know, we spoke before, you know, on Dynamite, on Collision, wherever it may have been, of, you know, you guys coming up together in this business, watching each other, rooting for each other, to then being across the ring from each other. Like mentally, that's got to mess you up a bit.
It messes you up a little bit. It's a little bit too comfortable in a way where it's like no one can hurt you as hard as you hurt yourself. But also it's like when someone is so close to you and they know everything about you, it's almost like you're hurting yourself in a way. They become a part of you. It also, like looking back on everything, like seeing yourself get to a point where you let things get taken that far is, it's humbling in a not good way.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. Well, something that did, despite the losses, going back to your matches with Mercedes and really putting it out there of who you are, what kind of an athlete you are, what kind of pro wrestler you are, to be in the ring with somebody like Mercedes Moné and push her the way that you did. I mean, you think back to that 10 count, the look on her face said it all at World's End. Like, it was such an incredible moment. But even talking about the street fight with Willow and being able to hold your own on these stacked pay-per-views where we have the best wrestlers in the world and you're out there, people are talking about you. Are you feeling that pressure, or do you feel like, hell yeah, we deserve that?
I feel the pressure. I feel satisfaction with knowing that I know what I'm doing. And then I feel the pressure because I'm like, oh my God, now everyone wants more of this.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I'm tired. But I lost twice to Mercedes now. If there's a chance that I go for her again, am I gonna, now how do I step up my game even more for a third time if that were to happen? It's a never-ending cycle of constant pressure, but I think I do pretty well under pressure, and I have such a desire to prove people wrong, even if no one is doubting me. I have this like need to prove, maybe even just prove it to myself that I am deserving of the spot that I'm in, and that everything that I've done up to this point is worth it, and that I haven't wasted any of my time. Because I feel like, not like, I've been pretty thankfully far removed from my injuries at this point, but I do feel like I lost so much time because of my injuries, and it puts you in such a bad mental place. And I see how injuries can affect people in negative ways and positive ways. Some people like really let the negativity get to them and they lose passion and they lose interest. And it's disheartening to see, because I don't like to like put myself in a position where I'm like, oh, I prevailed where other people failed. I was just so like enraged at the circumstances that I was given by destiny, if you will, that I had to always have a constant, like, I will never let this happen to me again. I will do everything I can to be stronger than this, be stronger than any injury that's ever happened to me. And it's hard to maintain that motivation and that passion when everything hurts all the time. And it's so hard. But you gotta do it for you, I guess.
Talk to me about that moment when you did come back from injury and the crowd reaction to you becoming TBS champion and taking that title off of Jade?
That was such a... It was one of those things where you show up, you wait all day, so much anticipation, and it's over in the blink of an eye. And so many people are like, did you hear the crowd out there? I was like, no, I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I was worried about tripping on my entrance, and I stumbled a little bit, and I was like, great, this is all downhill.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess this up. I'm a loser. And I got to the ring. It went fine. I won. I mean, it went more than fine. I won the belts. So it went great, actually.
Yeah.
It was one of the first times that I personally was like, oh, maybe I'm getting the recognition that, not that I deserve, but that I've been craving.
And being able to connect with the fans like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's such a hard thing to be able to capture. And it felt like you really had that captured in a bottle during that.
Yeah, it felt like something that they had wanted for a long time too, and it was just like a good, like, everyone is kind of leaving happy at this point. And I'm very thankful for everyone being on my side when that happened too. That was a very great thing for me, and the couple of people that told me that they cried for me, I was like, that's so sweet.
Oh my God, there was like waterworks behind the curtain.
I don't get emotional like that with wrestling a lot. I never really got emotional over the win of the TBS Championship. I got emotional over the support that I had.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's one thing to get cheers from the fans, but another to know that everybody in the back is rooting for you. Like, that's got to be, it's a different kind of admiration.
It really is.
They know the hard work that you're putting in and what it takes to be out there, the sacrifices that you're making.
Yes, and sometimes, I mean, we live in a day and age where everyone thinks that they know everything, but in my head and in my heart, I'm like, if the people that I trust are happy, then I'm doing my job right.
Yeah.
Or like the people that I need to make happy are happy, then I'm doing my job right. So that's kind of what keeps me going. I'm like, the people I need to be happy are happy. Yeah. We're good to go.
So I know you said you're not really into setting these goals or doing any kind of New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
But just to put a little asterisk in there, I mean, if you were to look into 2025 of something that you would love to accomplish or something that you're kind of striving towards, is it more TBS championship relation? Is it rebuilding your relationship with Willow? Is it kind of going back to the best friends and seeing what's going on with those guys? Because that's a whole other situation.
Yeah, part of me feels like when I had the TBS title the last time, it was the last time maybe that people saw so much worth in me, where things kind of a lot of times just started slowly like going bad for me after I lost the title. And I'm very well aware of that now, like reflecting on it. And part of me feels like maybe if I have a championship again, TBS title, women's championship, anything, that maybe like I'm not a loser anymore, and maybe like Willow or the best friends will see the value in me to hopefully help me reconcile with the wrongs that I've done and with them also, because I do want to make amends, but sometimes like what have I done? I've just lost a lot since then, and it's again probably from their perspective that's probably what I deserve. So I in an ideal world, all three of those things will come true.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe the first step might be trying to focus on a title or trying to focus on something to prove that I can be better than what I was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does. Before we wrap this up, can I have some of the dessert that's right beside you?
Of course, yes. My mother's
Feed me, please.
homemade strufoli.
What is this? Like, what goes into it?
So the dough is my grandma's recipe, or my great-grandma's recipe. They use red wine in the dough for instead of yeast.
The color.
Yes, and then it's basically just fried dough with honey and sprinkles to simplify it.
It's heaven.
Have the recipe at home. I've never made it. It's a very time-consuming thing.
Well, frying anything at home is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, my grandma sent me a video of my mom on a ladder kneading all this dough because I made her double the recipe for me to bring to people at work.
Well, I'm glad I got some, 'cause I know you brought some before and I missed it, so I'm very happy I got some.
Here they are, classic Italian
Thanks, Mom.
dessert. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Great Grandma, for bringing the recipe.
Appreciate you all. Well, Statlander, I'm very excited to see what 2025 has in store for you. I do feel like you are on the up and ups. Your trajectory is going in the right way.
I hope so.
And let's just hope that everybody else can jump back on board and you won't be walking that road alone.
I might just have to give more treats to people.
And that helps.
I'll just keep bringing treats to everybody.
Treats help. Treats certainly help. Happy 2025, everybody.
Happy 2025.
I think I have sprinkles in my teeth.